up, y'all? So today's video is going to be a review and demo-ish on the new Urban Decay, why do I keep saying Urban Decay? Urban Decay All-Nighter Foundation. Do you know how many times I've just trying to say that, and every single fucking time I say Urban Decay? It's Urban Decay. Urban Decay All-Nighter Foundation. So this isn't going to be like the typical like beauty guru review where I tell you how much it costs, how much you get, what shades there are, because let's be honest, you can just do a Google search. It takes you like 2 seconds to find all that shit out. What I am going to tell you is basically like the way that I apply it, the way that it was created and intended to be applied, and why it may possibly be looking like shit on you and how you can make it look better. This is one of those foundations that you kind of have to work to make it look good. So if you're somebody that's like, you know, watching this and thinking like, why the fuck do I need to make it work? I want to put it on the way I want to put it on, and if it doesn't look good the way I want to put it on, then I don't want to fucking wear it. Then you can go ahead and click out, because this foundation probably isn't going to work for you. So when this foundation first came out, there were so many like bigger YouTubers raving about it, and I was like, oh my god, yes, I need to try it. So I went out, I bought it, I put it on, and it looked like shit. And then the next day I put it on again and it looked like shit again. And I was like, okay, I can't even with this foundation. I don't fucking like it. It looks like shit on my face. Like, what is everybody talking about? Then, if you guys don't know, I work at Ulta. When you work at Ulta or even Sephora, sometimes you have brand representatives come in and they train you on certain products, i.e. this product right here. And they kind of tell you like, you know, the backstory behind the product and whatever else. They train you on the product. So when our Urban Decay rep came in and trained us on this, I was like, I don't really care for that foundation. Like, I had this, and this problem with it. She was like, well, first of all, you're applying it wrong. This is how it's intended to be applied. This is why it was created, blah, 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 blah. So then when I went home, I was like, oh my god, she was totally fucking right. It looks amazing. Not only does it look amazing, but it lasts forever. And as somebody with oily skin, if you guys don't know, I do have like combination skin. So I'm kind of dry to normal, like around the edge of my face, and then in the center of my face, I'm very, very oily. And because of that, most foundations will break down on me within probably like 4 hours. They just look like shit. A lot of foundations do. No matter how good the foundation is, it does tend to break down on me. And not only that, but it makes my blush and my bronzer like really patchy, and you know, my blush and my bronzer will start to come off throughout the day. But with this one, it's just, it's gold, y'all. It's so good. If you know how to apply it, I'm telling you guys, it does make me oily, but it doesn't make me oily to the point where like I look like a fucking grease ball, like you can fry an egg on my face. You know what I mean? It makes me look oily to the point where like it's just like your natural oils coming through, and it looks very natural and like dewy, if you will. That's the word everybody likes to use, dewy. So it makes you look more dewy than like just a straight up grease ball, and I've actually fallen in love with it. So I am going to tell you guys about this, tell you how I apply it, do a little demo of me applying it. I will say right from the rip though, because I know somebody will probably comment, which I mean is legitimate. I would too probably. This camera, so I'm using my A5100, and it does have a skin softener on it. I am toots sorry about that. I don't know how to fucking turn it off. I don't know how to turn skin softener off. I sat here for like a half an hour earlier, like flipping through the menu of this camera, and I cannot find where you turn the damn skin softener off. I don't know if I'm just an idiot and I'm missing it. If you guys have this camera, let me know how the fuck to turn it off. So, you know, take from it what you will. If you don't think it's legitimate because there's a skin softener on the camera, then that's fine. You don't have to watch the video. But if you're okay with that, then continue to watch, you know, whatever you wants to do with your life, get your life, whatever you want to do. So let's talk about the foundation. So basically the easiest way for me to explain to you and describe this foundation is to tell you kind of where Urban Decay was coming from when creating this. So, and to tell you kind of the differences between the Naked Skin and this one, so you can like better understand what this one's supposed to do, I guess. So when Urban Decay came out with the Naked Skin foundation, it is just that, naked skin. It is a light to a medium coverage. It is designed and was created with the intention of looking like skin. So it is a very thin consistency. It is intended to be buffed into the skin, because the more you buff something into the skin, the more skin-like it looks. So because of that, that's why they named it Naked Skin, because that's what it looks like. It looks like your skin with just a little bit of coverage. Whereas with this one is a smoothing foundation, and it is designed to be worn on top of the skin rather than blended into the skin, if that makes sense. So this one starts off at a full board, full-fledged, full coverage. It starts at a full coverage. For this, if you are using more, if you have like a little bit of acne, some redness, rosacea, stuff like that, if you're using more than one pump of this, you're using too much. If you have very severe acne, severe scarring, severe hyperpigmentation on your skin, if you're using more than 2 pumps on this, you're using too much. If you use more than 1 or 2 pumps of this foundation, it's gonna look cakey. It's gonna look like shit. It's just not going to sit on your skin the way it was intended to. Not only that, but it is not intended to be buffed into the skin. So the brush that Urban Decay came out with that was intended to be used with this product is their optical blurring brush. I do not have that brush because IMO, that brush is way too fucking expensive for what it is. But I do have the Sigma F82, and this is basically like what the optical blurring brush is. It's basically just a little bit denser of a kabuki brush. And with that brush, you are meant to stipple the foundation on, not blend it and buff it into the skin. So because this is a smoothing foundation and it's designed to smooth over texture, smooth over pores, smooth over fine lines, yanta, 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 it is not intended to be buffed into the skin. It lays on top of the skin and smooths it over. So even if you, like my personal preference for application is a beauty blender. Even if you don't have a beauty blender, you don't have any kind of makeup sponge, and you just like using brushes, even when using a brush, you need to be stippling this on. So that's what I was doing wrong at first. I was like taking this exact brush, dotting it on my face and blending it around. And what I found is that for one, it dries really, really quickly. So when I would blend it in, it would just kind of move. Do you know what I mean? So it would like cover this spot and then move over. And then I would add more because it didn't cover, you know, the spot beside that spot. And I just kept adding and adding. And then I noticed like it's settling in all my fine lines. It's settling into my pores because there was so much on my face and I didn't need that much on my face. So when using this, if you stipple with a brush or you stipple or bounce or whatever with a beauty blender, it's gonna look so much better. As far as the oiliness goes, if you are somebody with oily skin, so my first mistake was, I'm an idiot, I'm a total asshole. I was wearing this with the, like the first and the second time I'm pretty sure that I tried this, I was wearing it with the Becca Backlight Priming Filter, which is a hydrating filter, or a filter, which is a hydrating primer. And I'm oily. Like, bitch, what are you doing using a hydrating primer with a foundation? I know that they say that it's matte, but it is more of a satin foundation, and then it dries down to more of like a natural finish, like not even really satin, but more of just like a natural like skin-like finish. It's not like dewy, but it's not satin or matte either, if that makes sense. So what I found is that by the end of the day, I was getting really, really oily. But even though I was getting oily, my bronzer was still there, my blush was still there, my highlight was still there, everything was still in place, and it didn't separate or move on my face. So then, once I learned how to apply it, I started using just a regular primer spray. If you guys have been watching me, you know I've been using the City Color primer spray on my face. And then I got a sample of, I don't know if I got this when I bought something or if I got it for gratis at work, of the Tarte Clean Slate Timeless Smoothing Primer. I had never used this before, and I don't know, I just seen it in my drawers when I was cleaning my stuff out, and I was like, oh, let me try that. This stuff is amazing, BT dubs. So basically the way that I apply this is I will take the City Color Primer Spray, spray that on my face. Then I take the Tarte Clean Slate Timeless Smoothing Primer and I will put that just in the center of my face. And then as for application, I use a beauty blender and I make sure that my beauty blender is pretty saturated. Like, I don't like my beauty blender to be dry. So I basically just put it all over my face, bounce it in with the beauty blender, and then in the areas where I need a little bit more coverage, then I'll go back over, I'll pull it off of my hand with the beauty blender and I'll go back over whatever areas need more coverage. The powder that I use to set the foundation is the Laura Mercier translucent powder. If you're somebody that does not want to drop the money for this, or you can't afford the translucent powder, then I would try the Coty Airspun powder, just because these are very, very mattifying powders. So because this is so mattifying, it kind of keeps my oils at bay throughout the day. But even if I don't use this, it still doesn't get me oily to the point where it's like uncomfortably oily. You know what I mean? I just get a little bit of shiny. But right now I was like outside in 85-degree weather for like 20 minutes and you know, I'm like barely even oily. I know you guys can't fucking tell because it's stupid skin softener. And this is one of those foundations that just looks better as the day goes on. And I feel like the Naked Skin one does that too. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but like when you first put it on, it looks good. Like, you know, you're like, yeah, that looks pretty decent. That looks good. I can fucks with that. And then it's like, as the day goes on, it just looks better and better and better. I don't know what it is. So you guys, I love it. Once you learn how to apply it and you know what products to use with it, it just looks amazing and it lasts for so long. There are a couple things that I don't like about it, and one is it oxidizes horribly. And even when I went to training, the Urban Decay rep was like, if you are gonna buy this foundation, you need to buy one shade lower. And not like, so if you are a 3.0, you want to go to a 2.0, not a 2.5. You know what I mean? You want to keep your same undertone. So if you wear shade 5, like in the Naked Skin, because it does correlate with the Naked Skin foundation too, which I thought was pretty cool. Because a lot of brands don't do that. Like Bare Minerals comes out with all these foundations, but they don't, the shades don't like correlate with each other, you know what I mean? Which is fucking stupid. Just saying. So the shades like actually correlate with the Naked foundation. So if you are a shade 5 in the Naked foundation, you want to be a shade 4.0, or 5.0, you want to be a 4.0 in this foundation. So that is one thing that I don't like about it. So I got the shade 2.0, because I'm normally a 3.0 like during the summertime, and it's like entirely too light on me, but I think it's going to work for the winter. So I do add just like a tiny little pea drop of the MAC Pro Longwear Nourishing and NC35, but that does not change the consistency or the wearability or anything of this foundation. I've worn it on its own, looking like a fucking ghost, and it's, you know, performed the exact same way. So it's not like changing that. I don't want you to think that because I'm adding the MAC in, it's like changing anything. It's not. And then the other thing I really don't like about it is I always pump out way too much. Always. I always get too much because I'm so used to like using so much foundation from having acne that I'll like pump out a half a pump, which legitimately a half a pump would be enough for my face, surprisingly. I'll pump out a half a pump and be like, that's not going to be enough. And then I'll pump out another half, and then it's like entirely too much. And then I'm pissed because I just wasted it. So that is one thing I don't like. So you will have to play with it and see like, you know, how much is going to work for you. You know what I mean? So those are my thoughts on it. That is my like review-ish type deal on it. You guys saw cutaways and me applying it and saw what it looked like. I know the skin softener is on here, but I promise you I will do like a tutorial wearing it with the 60, and I'll show it to you guys like in that tutorial. I just don't have time to like set my 60 and everything else up today because I'm an asshole and I fucked off all day, and now I'm like strapped for time when it comes to filming. So let me know if you guys have any other questions about this foundation. What do you guys think of it? I know I've seen kind of back and forth in the comments about it, so I just want to know what you guys think about it. Try the application method that I told you. If you're using a brush, stipple it on with a brush. If you're using a beauty blender, get your beauty blender really, really wet. Don't use too much. Like use only what will cover what you need to cover. You know what I mean? You don't want a thick layer of this on your face. When you have a thick layer of this on your face, it will start settling into fine lines. It will start looking cakey and nasty. So just use enough to cover what you need to cover. And I promise you guys, it looks so good. Not only that, it lasts forever. And then this is totally not spons because you guys, nobody knows who the fuck I am. But if you put the all-nighter, what am I fucking from Jersey all of a sudden? If you put the all-nighter on top of it, dude, blah, 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 which is what I did when Tim and I went out with our friends. I used this and then I like doused myself an all-nighter on top of it. And I'm telling you guys, 120 degrees in that motherfucking beer tent. And when we got home, my face was just like, booyah. Like I could have went out again. It was fine. Maybe a little bit of powder, but other than that, it was GCG. Good to go. So if you guys have any questions, again, leave them in the comments. I don't think there's anything else I have to like touch on about it. If I missed something, let me know in the comments. Again, I am so sorry about this fucking camera. I just like, I don't know what it is. Let me know if you know where the button for the skin softener is. Where do I go? There's like 7 little things and you go down into all of them. I told you guys I spent a half an hour earlier looking for it and I could not find it. So if you guys know where it is, please let a bitch know. So I think that's it. That's it for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you're not. Follow me on all my social media and I will catch you guys in my next one. Peace.